this news coming out, it puts a halt on any coach looking to jump ship for the Florida job. You guys know that I'm really into the coaching carousel world, and I thought that I was going to have kind of a relaxed day because Ohio State had a bye week. And then I wake up this morning and bang, you see this. I'm told that representatives for Texas coach Steve Sarkisian have let NFL decision makers know that he would be interested in a potential coaching opening, including the Titans. Now, I think right now the Titans are a little bit of a disaster. So when I saw that, I'm like, whoa, the alarms go off. And I've, for a while now, felt like that this coaching carousel that we're about to kind of enter is going to be destructive and chaotic. And what it does is it benefits the programs that are a step below the elite, I guess, like football factories, like your Indianas, your Illinois, your Missouris, your Vanderbilts that kind of are able to have continuity and then build year over year over year and get older players and get transfer players and kind of develop on that front because there's so much volatility near the top. Now, I had that take on a show with Tyler, and I had that take in regards to like Ole Miss and Florida, who I think is a pretty good job, and the potential of LSU opening up, even though I'm being told that, like, I'm being told to people that are kind of in the know, they're like, hey, look, like Brian Kelly's seat is warm. It won't be hot unless next year is a complete flop disaster. What this does is provide a completely different layer to everything. I'm a big believer that the two best jobs in all of America are Texas and Ohio State. If Texas, with those resources and that recruiting base, if they open up, holy hell. There's a lot of speculation on both sides. You know, is Florida a big enough job to pull Ole Miss? Or pull Lane Kiffin? Yeah, absolutely it is. There was all the speculation. Okay, like we know Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, they're trying to keep him away from Florida because some schools in the SEC feel like, you know, Notre Dame's like a stepping stone job. I mean, like LSU did. If Texas opens up, everybody turn to your coaches and hang on tight because they're a place that should, in theory, have their pick of the litter. Now, the downside is the amount of pressure that comes with the Texas job is kind of, you know, unprecedented. But again, like, this would be a job that obviously, like, honestly, like Lane Kiffin should wait before he gives Florida an answer, because if Texas opens up, or if there's a grumbling that Texas is going to open up, go there. Go fix Arch Manning, because if you turn on Arch Manning in that state with those resources and you'll never lose an assistant coach again, all of a sudden, like, you're set up for forever if you can just put together a good offense. Now, I do know that Steve Sarkisian over the last week has felt like he's had to defend his take about wanting to call his own offense, and I think it's irresponsible for him to continue calling his offense, especially given how the team has not lived up to expectations and how his offense has not really been that good this year. So again, all of this, and I guess I'm just kind of rapid firing because this just came across the good old desk, and I guess, like, since we're here, I'm gonna click through an On3 article and go through it. Steve Sarkisian might have his sights set on the NFL. Texas head coach, who has led the Texas Longhorns since 2021, is reportedly interested in exploring professional opportunities, including the Tennessee Titans head coaching job. Now, I don't think the Tennessee Titans job is a job that I would want to touch right now, but for a quarterback evaluator, like, I'm sure that someone like him likes the opportunity to work with a quarterback that's closer to kind of their ceiling than Arch's right now. And Cam Ward is a guy that Sark could do a ton with if he had him. I mean, shoot, we saw what Sark was able to do with a Mac Jones. According to The Athletic, Dianna does a good job too. Representatives for Sarkeesian have made it known to NFL decision makers that the coach would be open to potential coaching openings. Shared the update late Saturday morning ahead of Texas matchup with Mississippi State. And it coming out this week is fascinating because this week, I mean, Mississippi State is not very good. But honestly, this news coming out, it puts a halt on any coach looking to jump ship for the Florida job. It puts a halt. And maybe that's just Lane Kiffin right now, but it also puts a halt on Marcus Freeman maybe getting a big extension, which that idea was kind of floated and grumbled about. I don't want to buy anything. Sarkeesian is no stranger to the professional ranks. He served as a quarterback coach for the Oakland Raiders in 2004 and later spent 2 seasons as an offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons from 2017 to 2018, making the leap to the NFL as a head coach. However, would mark a major career shift. Still, the move would make sense. Sarkeesian has developed a reputation as one of college football's premier offensive minds. Oof. And quarterback developers, traits that are increasingly coveted at the next level. NFL teams could be intrigued to see how his system translates against professional defenses. Okay, this also could be Sarkeesian. So we all know that Texas boosters will always put themselves in the fray. This could be an attempt to get them to back up or call somebody's bluff. Because I'm sure that right now there's a lot of internal conversations about, okay, like I'm Steve Sarkisian. I want to call the plays. The big money people and the boosters and the AD, maybe there's some pressure on me to get a coordinator that they're going to pay, $2 million to and have him call the plays, because not only are we paying an offensive coordinator that doesn't call plays, we're paying the one that doesn't call plays a good amount of money because it is Texas, and Steve Sarkisian also aren't giving us a good offense, so you might have to make the shift for us. And this could be Sarkeesian being like, look, you're going to pressure me to give up offensive play calling duties? I'll just, like, you guys don't know how lucky you are or how thankful you should be for me. I can go other places. I can go to Texas. I mean, I can leave Texas to go to the pros. Now, look, a lot of us felt like, Penn State, myself felt like Penn State fans were kind of delusional in regards to how they view the Penn State job and some of the names they think they can get. Guys like Urban Meyer, who Texas tried to get before, it didn't work. They think they can get just about anybody. It's like arrogance with kind of the level job they are. And honestly, if you ask a Penn State fan or even some Penn State personalities, they'll tell you that Penn State's a better job than Florida, which it may be, but it is a little bit tricky. Now, this job would be unequivocally better than everybody else, and this job would also scream like halt and like go. If the Texas job opens up, a lot of coaches are going to get extensions and going to get paid because they are a school like Ohio State that will have their pick of the litter if it opens. If the Titans become his landing spot, Sarkeesian would inherit rookie quarterback Cam Ward, the first overall pick in the 2025 draft, and Tennessee remains the only current opening. But more vacancies will emerge by season end with speculation around Miami, New York, both teams. Wow. Now, probably for an incoming head coach, the best job would be the Giants' job. They've got a wide receiver one that's hurt this year, but bona fide wide receiver one. They've got draft capital. They've got Jackson Dart, who was a quarterback that obviously the answers you're closer to the answer, yes, franchise quarterback, than you are with a guy like Cam Ward. You've got the running back, and you've got the defense. You're going to have probably a top 3 defensive line for the next 3 to 5 years with Abdul Carter, with Burns, with Thibodeau. Like the Giants are closer recipe-wise to finish than the Titans are. And then it would be up to like a quarterback evaluation and like a job evaluation in terms of, and also the Giants are just a better overall organization than the Titans are right now. This would kind of be unprecedented for Sark to, not unprecedented. This would be a slap in the face, a gut punch. And then there is some huge ramifications that we're going to get to in a sec. From the Texas perspective, losing Sark would be a stunning development. He's helped stabilize and elevate the program, steering the Longhorns back in a national title contention, and managing their transition with the SEC poised. To the SEC with poise. Though Texas has fallen short of their championship dreams in recent years, the foundation under Sark has still been solid. Now, look, just real quick, I know people are like down on Sark or whatever, but Sark, the last 2 years has been to the Final Four both times, and I think that matters and that's important. And he's literally been 2 games away from winning a national title, which is a good thing. And then he also landed Arch Manning. And, if you still think Arch could be something that is like a big-time player, then, one would think maybe Steve Sarkisian would not leave. This year's been a bit more challenging though for the Longhorns. Now sitting at 5-2. Now here we go. 5-2. Texas is still a playoff team, and it's funny that I guess national media is kind of punted on them because of the struggles of Arch Manning and the struggles of that offense. But 5-2, they still control their own destiny to me. Faces a must-win stretch to keep the postseason hopes alive. Arch Manning's continued development remains a bright spot. I don't think it's a bright spot. He's a redshirt sophomore, and things have not been good. That's an interesting line in this article. Arch Manning's continued development remains a bright spot and a point of discussion. What strange language right there. And the Longhorns still have plenty to play for. Should Sarkeesian depart, the ripple effects would be felt across college football, potentially creating more NFL opportunities for other top offensive minds in college football, like Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley. It's a copycat league after all. For now, it's simply just interest. But any movement from Sark towards the NFL would undoubtedly send shockwaves through both college and professional sports. 100% agree. And also what it would do is, Arch Manning. I mean, could we see an offseason where Arch Manning, with a new coach coming in, if him and DJ Lagway are both in the portal, and if you're Arch Manning, do you go to Indiana? That's the pipe dream, right? The pipe dream is like for Indiana. Tyler and I discussed this at great length. A lot of people wonder if Indiana is going to be able to recruit at a high clip moving forward. I think they are. And I think that if these big-time schools have job openings during this hot stretch from Cignetti, and he's able to get another elite transfer quarterback, all of a sudden you are going to see a shift in the attitude of the program amongst recruits that you're already seeing. Recruits are already starting to shift towards believing in what Indiana does. But Sark maybe leaving Texas, that would open up Indiana and Sig and, Mark Cuban and them to go in and purge talent. And God forbid football minds like the Mannings, I'm sure they have a lot of respect for what Sig has done, especially if Mendoza ends up being quarterback one, then all of a sudden you're an option for Arch Manning. That's what the transfer portal window has done. And again, these volatile jobs at the top, that is what is going to give these schools that traditionally have not been at the top a chance to continue to eat and continue to feast. Because I think this next year, Trinidad Chambliss to Indiana makes way too much sense. And obviously we're operating the land and make believe. But Lagway, you're potentially, if Lane Kiffin goes to Florida or if he goes to Texas, you could have three quarterbacks that are really good quarterbacks looking for a new home in Lagway, Arch, who are good quarterbacks that need a lot of development, or Trinidad, who's been really productive, but probably closer to his ceiling, all on the market. And the schools that are, doing a really good job stacking up, I guess, portal talent, Indiana's number one. And then, obviously, Missouri, Drake can benefit from this. Luke Altmaier, he's off to the league. Illinois can benefit from this. Penn State, if they want to hit a quick reset button, they can go get a quarterback. There's going to be a crazy bidding war for some guys. And this Sark thing puts a wrench in just about everything. Just a wild report to drop this morning. Because, again, that is, one of the very, very top jobs in the country. It is crazy that 5-2, when last year's Ohio State team lost 2 games and ended up winning the national title, with as much talent as Texas is being viewed as a rocky tenure. And honestly, just the qualms of success. This is the curse of success. Man. What is Sark's background? Dude, I'm telling you, man, Steve Sarkisian should stay at Texas, and I'll say this 100 times. Steve Sarkisian should stay at Texas, and he should hire. He should go back to that well and hire Zach Robinson. That's who we should hire to be the OC at Texas. Zach Robinson has Big 12 ties. Obviously, Texas as an SEC team now, but he was with the Los Angeles. He was with the Los Angeles Rams for a stretch as an assistant. I mean, climbed his way up from an assistant here, and then ended up being the pass game coordinator under Sean McVay, and then now is the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator. And let's see how the Falcons rank national points wise, just real quick. This is nuts, dude. This would be an absolutely like. This would be shell shocking, to be honest, for Steve to go, but also like everybody freeze and all your ads hands on your knees. 2024. I mean, they have not been great. They've been decent though on offense. They're still trying to figure it out, and obviously a new quarterback too. But man, I'm just wild times, and this would mean huge news for Ohio State just separately because there's a lot of players on that Texas roster that Ohio State was in on recruiting wise, and Texas opted to just spend a ton of money. And a guy like Hero Kanu, I had to check his eligibility, but if Hero Kanu, I believe will have another year next year to come back home to Ohio State. If Steve Sarkisian does leave, that would be huge. And there's a lot of other really, really good players at Texas that Ohio State could benefit from absorbing and kind of strengthen, further to their chase for a dynasty. So the Texas news is crazy news. Just had to jump on here and do a quick little recording. It is a bye week. I'll probably have more content later today, depending on who loses. I'll probably try to find a crash out again. But I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and sub. That means a lot to me. And I'll continue to kind of get content out there.